Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today I'm going to talk to you about Dice Manor. So, thank you to Arcane Wonders for sending me this copy for review, and I will tell you what I like and dislike about the game, but first, let me show you basically how the game is played. In Dice Manor, you're using your dice to bid on the advertising track, bid on the rooms that are available, or to give a tour of your manor. So what you do on your turn is you roll your dice, and then you collect them into groups. So you can see, for instance, I have 3s, 5, a 2, and 2 1s. You pick one number, and then you have to use all of the dice of that number. So for instance, I could take these, say I'm going to use my 3s. I could put 2 of them here, potentially. So now there's 2 3s there. And I could put one maybe on the advertising track. Then my opponents go. So maybe another one of my opponents comes along. Perhaps they bid 2 3s here. I'm actually still winning that because I put my 3s there first, but they have the potential to add to that later. And maybe another one of my opponents decides that they're actually going to bump me down the advertising track. So they have a lower number here, but they have more dice. And so that matters. You can put any number on the advertising track, whereas the rooms have specific numbers. Then it comes back to me. I roll the dice again. And again, I decide, okay, do I want to use my 4s or my 5s? And then I go from there. So maybe I put my 5s out. And then my other opponent does roll a 3, right? So that goes down. Now I'm losing that room, etc. So we're going to keep doing that until nobody has any dice left. You'll claim the rooms that you were the winner on. If you didn't win, you get compensation in the form of one of these tokens. You start the game with 2 of these. These allow you to either re-roll any of your dice or to add 1 or subtract 1 from the die. So you get to use those however you want. The advertising track, the way that it works is, and normally there would be a point tracker here. I just set that aside for space reasons. But whoever is first on the advertising track will move their house twice, and these are points, so they would collect 6 points, and then the number of dice that they had, they would move this die, this direction, that number, right? So that was 2. When these 2 finally come together, then you get another die in your dice pool, and then you start moving this one. Second place here just gets to move this once and scores those points. There was only 1 there, etc. If green had, for some reason, had some dice in here, like maybe they had put their 3 there, they wouldn't move at all on the advertising track, but they would move their die, 3 in this case, because they had 3 dice there. So you're going to do that over 4 rounds, collecting different things. In the 5th round, you're going to give a grand tour, which is basically like the tour that you can give at any time. So now let me show you how the tour works, and then I'll tell you how points are scored. When you're giving a tour, it has to start at the front door. So you got to make sure you didn't block that front door. Also, whenever you were placing these rooms together, you had to make sure that you didn't block any of the entrances. All right, so on any turn, but also, of course, in the last round with the grand tour, you're going to roll dice, and you're going to decide what are you going to do with these dice. So, for instance, I have 4 2s here. So I can give a tour. This means I can put any die I want there. So I could say, okay, I'm going to use my 2s. And I'm going to go 2, 2, 2. And then this is going to be an unhappy guest because I have to use it. It was a 2, but I don't know where to put it. I could potentially have said, I'm going to use one of my tokens and change that into a 3. So now it's not a 2 and I didn't have to place it. All right, but that would be my turn. And so for placing 3 of those, I would score 5 points. And then you'll get points when you remove them as well. And then the next person would go, and then I would roll again. And okay, what am I going to do with these dice? Well, I could go 3, 3, and hey, what if I use this other token I have to change this into a 3? 3. Now I gave another 3 die tour, which is pretty good. Then, it would just go around until I was done using my dice. But I would only ever be able to place a 1 here, which just gives me a token, and then a 5 here, which just gives me a token. Although it is good to place them because when you remove them, you get points. That's a general overview of how the tour works. There are a few more intricacies than that, but that's the basic idea. As far as scoring at the end of the game, you can see there's a lot of different ways to score points. So there's manor diversity. If you have at least 4 of the different types of rooms, you get 4 points, all the way up to if you all have all 6, you get 15 points. I do actually have all 6 here, so for instance, that would score 15 points. Largest manor is the one with the most rooms. This actually counts as 2 rooms, by the way, when you're adding that up. If you have 1 or more of those, second place gets 6 points. Any of these tokens you have left over, if you have 2 of those, they're worth a point. And then you have color majorities, where the color majority, the person with the most gets 12, second gets 6. There's tie-breaking rules in the manual as well. If you were to look at my map, you could see, for instance, that I have 2 yellow rooms. I have 1 red room. I have 1 green room. I actually have 3 blue rooms because this is blue, blue, and then this is blue. These purple rooms count as whatever they're connected to. So for instance, if I had connected these somehow this way, this would count as both a blue and a yellow room. Also, remember that you get points giving tours in rounds 1 through 4. And when you pull the dice back at the end of the round, each one of those dice that you take off the board is worth a point. But when you give the final grand tour, you want to make sure you get all your dice out because they're worth 3 when you pull them off. So anyway, pretty handy thing here. Explains all the phases, what you can do with the dice, and how everything scores. All right, now let me go tell you what I thought of the game. All right, so my likes and dislikes for the game. So let me go ahead and start with the likes. And, well, this is probably just a me thing, but you see how thin that box is? It's just a lot more likely that I'm going to keep a game if it fits easily on my shelf. So I like that. But if you were to ask me what I like most about the game is, when I looked at this game, I thought, oh, that looks fun. It looks interesting. You roll your dice, you make a decision, and you move along. But I didn't realize until I had played it some that the decisions about what you're going to do with your dice are a lot more complex, than I was expecting. You want to build a manor that has, consecutive numbers. You can score a lot of points when you're doing a tour, but hey, you also need that diversity bonus, right? That's a lot of points. If you're not getting all those, you're leaving them on the table. And then the color majorities as well. Those are worth points. And hey, if you don't do the advertising track, you're not going to have the extra dice. And those dice, if you can get them on your board, are worth a bunch of extra points when you're giving a tour. So yeah, I've been in the 4th round and am I really going to put 5 6s down in order to get a library? Because I don't have a library. And, what is it, like 9 points, I think, for getting that final room type for diversity. And you get compensation, right, for not when you don't win a room, but it's not very good. So it's a little punishing, Do I really want to start a bidding war with this person for that room? Because that could really hamper my ability to get other stuff. Maybe I should just let that go and get something else. And so there's a lot of good decisions here, not sort of analysis paralysis level decisions. I didn't find that anybody that I played this game with, and I played it with 6 different people at this point, and none of them had any trouble really, just sort of overthinking their turns. We did try the variant where you roll your dice at the end of your turn instead of the beginning, which changes the game strategically. Not very much, but there is a strategic change there, but it does keep it moving along faster. So I think I preferred that, but that's up to your group really. But yeah, so again, that's what I liked about it. There were actually more complex decisions than I thought there would be. And I guess I should also say that, this is a game, and this is going to go into my dislikes a little bit, that you don't really understand it, I think, until you've played it once. But I will say that everybody, after having played it once, was like, oh, now I understand. Let's play it again. And when you have a game like that where people are just immediately want to turn around and play it again, you've got a good game on your hands. All right, so the dislike, and why is it that people don't really understand the game until they've played it once? The give a tour mechanism is a little confusing, I have to say. Now, maybe if I were to teach the game again, I've taught it a few times, but the next time that I teach it, I think I would just lay out a manor and roll dice and give tours just so people could see what happens there, because, I explain it, but I can explain it till I'm blue in the face until you actually see somebody give a tour. It doesn't seem to sink into anybody, and it's really important. I mean, in the fifth round, all you're doing is scoring from a tour. So if you haven't set your manor up very well so that you can't give a tour and get a lot of points, you're probably not going to do so well in the game. So I will say, and there's some fiddly rules in there about, like, can I split a tour and when can I go off this one, and it has to start at the entrance, and I don't know. There's just a bunch of little rules about the tour, so there's a lot to explain, and then again, it's just not incredibly intuitive, I guess, for players either. So I feel like the tour is fiddly, and that's my dislike, but that's definitely not enough to keep me off of playing the game or recommending the game to other people. So yeah, I will say Dice Manor, pretty solid game. If you like, rolling dice and bidding games, then you should definitely check this one out. All right, so if you have any questions about Dice Manor, you can leave a comment in the YouTube video and I will answer that here, or you could come over to our Discord channel. So if you look in the description of the video, there's a link to our Discord channel. Come over there, and the whole crew, the whole Just Cut Play crew, are there to talk to you about whatever you want about board games. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. That does help us out. Until the next time, thanks for joining me.